Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel ML for Analytics. I am Jyoti Dikshit and today we will be covering another important topic in Power BI and data modeling, that is role-playing dimensions in Power BI. So suppose you have got more than one dimensions and they are having same data types. So take date as an instance. So you have a order date, you have shipping date, and you have the delivery date. So order date is of course the date on which you had placed an order. Shipping date is the date on which your item has had been shipped, and delivery date is going to be the date on which your item, your order was delivered at your home. So in this particular case, we are going to have three dimensions and they are of the same data type, that is date time. And we will be learning how to do aggregations on different dimensions, playing different roles in this particular case study. So again, I am using Contoso database in this case, and it is provided by Microsoft. So I'll actually provide the link to that particular database and how to install, set up that database in your system. So all the steps for that will be written in that particular link. So, actually, in this particular case, we should directly go to the model. And what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to just delete rela- uh, these relationships actually, so that I actually want you to understand about this from, you can say, scratch. So when you are going to load these two tables, dim date and fact sales of Contoso database, you are going to see this particular view in model view. So if you hover over to this particular relationship, this solid line, I can see that fact sales table is making a relationship with dim date table, and that relationship is made by a common column. The name basically date key columns. Both of them are having same names. So date key on fact sales and date key on dim date table. So in this particular case, please assume that date key is actually representing the order date, the date on which your order was placed. So this may be representing something else, but in our case study, just assume that by date key, I mean the date on which the order was placed. In case of fact sales, in case of dimension table, it is just a column, basically a dimension column, which is on the one side of this particular relationship, and the date key of fact sales is on the many side of the relationship. So this I have made just to actually do drill down and aggregations and all those manipulations, slicing and all those things. So basically for that only these dimension tables are created. So they basically represent the business entities. By using them, you can actually filter the measures and basically the observations that are written in your fact table. So this is the first thing. Then I'm going to show you how the data looks like, and forget about this A table, and I'm just going to give you a brief about the dim date table. So this is the date key column. This is actually the dim date table. So as you can see, it's having weekdays, name of days, and all those things basically. If I click on this date key, I can see that the data type of this date key column is date time, as expected. Now I'm actually going to minimize this. I'm going to fact sales table, and as you can see that this is the date key again. on one single date, many orders can be placed. So that is why this is actually on the many side of the relationship. And if I click on this, again, its data type is date time. Now, since it was not having any other date, though it was having load date, update date, but it was having just one value, and I wanted to explain this to you. So this is actually the real use case. So I created a calculated column by using DAX, and this is the shipping date, and I added 2 to the date key column of pack sales. So I'm assuming that items are shipped after 2 days on after 2 days of the order placement. So suppose your order was placed on say 11th of October 2008, and your item was then shipped on 30th or 13th October 2008. So I'm just assuming this. And I am assuming that delivery date is basically 5 days after the date on which the order was placed. So these are the formulas. So basically, if you add this any number to the date column, then you are actually adding 5 days to the date, to the original date. So that is how I have got this. And now I am going to basically over here, and I can see that I have a relationship existing over there. Now I'll have to create the other two relationships. So basically, dim date has to have a relationship with other two dates also, shipping date and delivery date, so that I can see that uh, on which day what number of items was shipped, or what is the amount, the sales amount, or basically the amount of the orders, the total amount of the orders on some particular day. So, what is the amount of the orders uh, that was shipped on a particular day? So, this is the type of information I want to see, and the same goes for like delivery date. I want to see that on 5th June 2008, suppose. What is the total amount of uh, orders that were actually delivered? So this is actually the money that I'm talking about. So I'll go to like manage relationships over here, and I'm going to create new relationship. And over here, I'm going to ship dim date. So this is obviously the date key, and I'm going to select tax sales over here, and the first relationship I want to create is obviously with shipping date. It has automatically been detected by Power BI that the cardinality has to be one to many, and cross filter direction is obviously single. I'm going to click OK on this. So you can see over here that by default, this is the active relationship, and the all the relationships that are created after the first relationship will be actually an inactive relationship. So why this is so? Because relationship, they basically represent the path of filter propagation. So this actually tells Power BI what is the path it should follow from one table to other table in order to achieve the filtering. So this is actually the path of filter propagation I'm talking about, and at a time only one path can be followed by Power BI. If this was the case that more than one relationship uh, could be active, then obviously that would create ambiguity, and Power BI will basically get confused which path should I follow, and that will obviously lead to wrong results. So I'll create again one more relationship, and I'll go to dim date. I'll click on date key, and I'll go to fact sales, and again I'll move over here, delivery date. Again, it has selected that it has actually observed that the cardinality is one to many and cross filter direction is single. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click close. So again, you can see that I have two dashed lines, dotted lines, and one solid line. So the solid line, it actually represents that this is the active relationship between date key columns of both the tables. And these dotted lines, they are basically the inactive relationship. So Power BI is not going to use these two paths of filter propagation on its own. The default path is set to this. So now a question may arise in your mind, then what is the use of these dotted lines? Why are we having these two dotted lines? Well, for that, we'll have to go to this view over here. And this is obviously the cover page, so I'm going to duplicate it. And over here, let's rename this to demo. Give this. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to like expand it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this pane over here, and I will show you the measures that I have already created. So first measure is sum of sales amount. So this is basically created by using this particular DAX expression. So first is I'm using SumX. Basically, it's an iterator function, and but it accepts it as basically two arguments. I'm sorry, I'm repeating this basically word. So first expression is again the table name that you want to iterate on, and the second one is actually the name of the column. So basically, it's saying that I want to iterate on fact sales table, and I'm going to obtain some of the sales amount based on the filter context that has been used. So this is first thing, sum of sales amount, and uh, I'll then move to this. This is sum of sales amount by shipping date. So uh, as I told you that we won't be able to like obtain this thing filtering because the relationship which the date table dim date is having with shipping date and delivery date is actually an inactive relationship. So in order to actually achieve the filtering and aggregation by a date key column of dim date, I have to use this calculate function, and I have to use the use relationship function of DAX. So in this case, I am actually modifying the filter context. Calculate function is used to modify the filter context. And this use relationship, it is acting as a modifier. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to ask RBI to actually obtain the sum of sales amount, but use this relationship as the path of filter propagation. Use this path of filter propagation. The path is obviously between date key of dimension table and shipping date of fact sales table. And then only I am having this sum of sales amount by shipping date over here. And if I go to like sum of sales amount by delivery date, same thing is done, only that the use relationship is function is having delivery date instead of shipping date. And when I bring this to this particular table, I actually am using matrix visualization over here. And in the rows, I am having date key column of dim date, and I'm having these measures, these three measures that I have created just now, in the values field. So basically, what is going on is it is telling me that on 1st January 2017, this that was the that is the first date on which any sales was recorded, and I'm having like 80 this particular amount, 83 lakh 10,498, and so on. So on different days, sum of sales amount figure is obtained. So filter context from different dates is propagating, and then I'm having the values corresponding to these dates. Now, the same thing is happening for like shipping date, as I told you that I have set the shipping date to be 2 days ahead of the order date. So that is why I am having this particular value over here on 3rd. So item that was ordered on 1st January 2007 was shipped on 3rd January 2007, and it was delivered on 6th January 2007, because delivery date was equal to order date or date key plus 5. So this is the output that we are having. So uh, by DAX, I could actually I was able to like use different dimensions which are playing different roles in order to achieve the appropriate results. There's another method if if someone is not having good knowledge of tax, and like if someone doesn't want to create like these different measures by like ship date or delivery date and all those things, then what to do? So for that, you will again have to go to model view. We will we will manipulate, or we will do modify our data model in order to achieve that. In this particular case, this is case 2, and for that I'm going to open another tab over here. And so what I'm going to do is go over here, delete these relationships, and this relationship also. I'm going to bring this to center and reduce its size a bit, and I'm going to actually uh, okay, so I'll go to data view, and I am going to obtain duplicates of this particular table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make new table over here, and I will be naming it as shipped ship date ship date table. So, or you can say only shipped. So that will be again equal to dim date, and again I will actually make a new table over here, and in this case again I will name it as delivery, and this will be equal to like dim date. What I'll do is I'll rename this dim date table also. I'll rename it to order. Okay, so now I'm actually having 3 tables. Okay, so they have like come over here. What I'll do is I'll bring them closer, and I'll bring this back table in the middle, and these 3 tables over here. Cool enough. So I'm having three-dimension tables. So shipped table and delivery table is actually the duplicate of the date key dimension table, dim date dimension table, and I have changed the names of all these tables. So the relationship which date key is making with this particular table over here, it is actually representing the order date. And now I'm going to create relationship between fact sales and these two tables. So I'll go to manage relationships and I'll create a new table over here. I'll go to like delivery and I'll click on date key, and again I'll go to fact sales and I'll click on date key, and I'll then click on, not date key, sorry, I'll click on shipping date and I'll click on OK. So this is an active relationship now because I'm not creating a relationship, multiple relationship between the same two tables. I'm creating relationship between uh, fact table and different dimension tables. So that is why now these relationships, all these three relationships will be active relationships. So now this is shipped over here in case of dimension table, and in case of fact table I'll I'll actually do it for like shipping date. Okay, I actually did one mistake over here. So this was between delivery and delivery date over here. Fine, so three relationships have been created now. One to represent order date, other to represent ship date, and third one to represent the amount by delivery date. So I'll click on close. And these relationships are now detected. And that is cool enough. Now I'll go over here, and what I'm going to do is I am again going to bring this particular my matrix visualization over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually, first of all, I'll bring the date key of order date, and I'll bring date key from here to rows, and I am going to bring this sum of sales amount measure over here, just sum of sales amount, not all, not sum of sales amount by ship date or delivery date, because now they they will not be calculated because uh, we have deleted those inactive relationships. So now in this particular case, one question may arise that uh, I mean, how am I going to represent it in this case? So what I'm going to do is I'll just name it as sum of sales amount, and in the bracket I'm going to write order. Cool enough, and I'll just keep it over here, and I'll copy paste this visual, and I'll remove this date key. Now I will actually bring the date key of shipped table, and I'll bring it to rows. And now I know that the amount basically again just we will do it for like third date also, that is delivery date, and I'll remove date key of shipped table, and I'll bring the date key of delivery table. And again, in order to avoid confusion, I'll name it as delivery. And same will be done over here also. It is not order. It is actually going to be shipped. And so cool. Now it's actually giving me a nice picture. I can see that none of the orders were placed in 2010, but the orders were that were placed in 2009, they were shipped in 2010, and also delivered in 2010. So this is because dates are running like the ship date is actually 2 days ahead of the order date, and the delivery date is actually 5 days ahead of the order date. And I can see that in the year 2007, this amount of orders were placed. So the the money that the company basically earned by the orders that were placed in the year 2007 was actually this amount, and uh, this is actually by shipped. This is the money corresponding to the orders that was shipped in the year 2007, and the same can be seen like delivery date over here. So different options have been seen in this particular case, and I could um, I could actually create uh, one more thing in this particular case, that is instead of deleting the inactive relationship, I could have kept it, but in order to avoid confusion in this particular model, I have deleted it. So in order to give you a clear picture, I'll again recreate those relationship, those inactive relationship between order table and fact sales over here. And again, I'll go to like ship date over here, and I'm going to click OK. This will be an inactive relationship, and the same will be done for like uh, delivery date also. So I'll move it over here, and I'll click on delivery date, and I'll click on OK, and I'll click on close. So it's working on it. Relationships have been created. If I go over here, and if I actually go over here, then what has happened? Uh, okay, so it's actually saying that sum of sales amount. Use relationship can only have two column references participating in a relationship. So it's no more a dim date, it's actually order. And I'm going to click on this. The syntax for order is incorrect. Just a sec. Order date key, and just click on this. Oh, it worked. And now the same goes for this also. It is having dim date currently, and I have to replace it with order name, and this is done. Cool enough. And now I'll go over here and I'll see what is happening now. So, cool enough. Now I can see that basically my numbers, they are back. No more error is there, and I can have a clear picture of the amount that I'm having in case of active relationship and in case of inactive relationships also. And this is again this is made by modifying the model, and so that's how this particular thing is achieved. One thing may be coming in your mind that why it is coming like this over here. So this is because inactive relationships, they were like created so that kind of block auto date time functionality. So I'll talk about this in my coming videos for sure. For now, I want you to understand different methods which we can implement in order to have these type of aggregations, and by means of DAX also, and by modifying you can say data model also. So, guys, with this, I conclude this video. Uh, if you like this video, then please hit on like button. Please do share your feedback with me by commenting, by adding a comment. Please share this video for better reach, and please subscribe to our channel. So, thank you and have a nice day.